he gave me this look, and it's like he almost like shoved it back in my hand, like whatever. And I'm like, okay, I already know what's this interaction gonna be like, and the kind of person I'm dealing with. Okay. What's going on? What's good, guys? Mike is in the building. Right before I get into this conversation, I want to kind of give this little disclaimer here. Being a police officer, EMT worker, a firefighter, these are proud professions that I think anybody who has that job should really be held to a certain standard and expect a certain amount of professionalism when you're doing that job and putting your personal preferences aside or your beliefs. This video is not to bash anybody of their job or profession, but it seems yearly, at least, I get to interact with the police or with the cops, whichever one, law enforcement. At least once I get to interact with them. Doing a specific job requires certain things, right? It has a lot of pride behind it. There's a lot of the heroism word being thrown around quite a bit for the people that basically choose this route as a career. And I can respect that. A lot of them are genuine people and they do it out of love. And one thing I think you have to remember, I know I hear that quite a bit from people, is that police officers have families too, and they got to get home to their family. When you're picking a career path, whether it's law enforcement, a firefighter, you're running into that burning building, okay, you're a selfless person. And this is why firefighters and police officers, law enforcement are considered heroes, because they put themselves ahead of people. But there are so many of them that are not doing that. Their goal is to get home. If you want to be the kind of person that you want to make it home to your family after your 9 to 5 or your 12-hour day, maybe this career path is not for you. That's just my opinion about the whole situation. I feel like a lot of people, that's how they think about it. Well, cops have to go home. Yeah, we all have to go home. Your goal is to be selfless in police or make people feel protected, putting them ahead of you. That's what's your job. Now, whether people like this or don't want to hear this or not, that's okay. It's just a matter of opinion. We all have opinions, and that's okay with that. That's why it's a conversation. Now, I recently got pulled over by the cops earlier this week. I did not have a GoPro. I did not record anything. So I got on the highway. To make the long story short, I got on the highway. I saw the cop. It's not that I didn't see him or was anything like that. I saw him, and I immediately, followed the rules, stayed on my line. After a couple of exits, I switched lane, of course. And after a little time pass, I hear the sirens come on. It's like pull over kind of thing. And I'm like, me? Ask for my license and registration. I give him everything. And he goes around my bike and look at it and look at it and look at it. And then looks at me, and then he starts searching for all the VIN numbers and asking me about my VIN numbers and stuff like that. And you know what? I don't mind getting stopped, getting pulled over if I'm in the wrong. You get a ticket, and then you move on with your life, and then you pay it, whatever it is, whatever the cases may be. I'm handing him my registration, my license, and I'm giving him my PBA card, right? And he looks at me and he gave me this look. And it's like he almost like shoved it back in my hand, like whatever. And that's okay. You meet people all the time. I don't know what's going on with him. in the past 24 hours. He goes to his squad car, check everything out. I guess it says I have a ticket that's pending. Comes back to my bike, ask about the exhaust, my tail light, my turn signal, why I don't have any turn signals. When I do, it's integrated. And then when he went back to the squad car, he took my keys with him. I expected you to run. Dude, do your job well, to the best of your abilities, and I go my way, and then you go for the rest of your day and spend your next 12 hours harassing people if that's the way you want to do your job, or helping people. That's great. Just go and do that. I go my way, you go your way. If I have to go to court and get a lawyer, I get a lawyer. It just makes it easier for the both of us, you know. You've made it clear you don't like me, and that's okay. You don't have to like me. I don't expect anybody to like me all the time. And I consider myself a pretty straightforward guy. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. And that's just me. It's been my personality. That's how I grew up. And the guy was just really being a dick all around. When he came back and told me, oh, you have a pending court date that you missed, and then you have a grace period. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to deal with that. I'm going to pay the ticket already. I already logged into my phone, paid it. I just paid it. I just didn't really care. I just don't want anybody to be demeaning to me. By the time the officer came out of his car the second time and took my keys out the ignition without my permission, he touched my property without asking me. You could have said, I'm going to remove your keys. You're supposed to communicate what you're going to do. Okay, don't just do it. It's still my property. It's still my bike. And next thing I know, I see the tow truck coming up. A tow truck is coming up, and A's like, what the hell's going on? Is he taking, our bike? By that time, we're waiting for like 40 minutes. So he's like digging, and I asked him what's going on. Well, he was like, you're lucky right now I'm not taking you to jail. To jail? For what? I'm not a criminal. Because I have a pending ticket that I miss. This guy just really trying to push my button, trying to get a reaction. He started asking me a lot of really weird things. And again, the ticket, everything else, him pulling me over, he said I switched lanes without doing my turn signal. And I know I did. But whatever. You can debate that later in court. I'm not going to debate on the side of the road. He has a gun. I don't. I just have words. My words cannot hurt him, but he can go somewhere else and say he felt threatened by my words, and he had to use his gun to stop me. So I don't debate. With all the mayhem and all the madness, the guy took my bike, thinking that I'm going to flip. He said, I'm taking your bike. You're a danger on the road to people or whatever. And then I'm standing by a squad car, and starting to get a little worried. She kind of walked to it, and I'm like, babe, just don't say anything. Just let me talk to him. Mike here is acting up. I'm trying to be a nice guy, but he's acting up. So, I'm going to take his bike. I'm going to get it towed. I'm like, how are you being a nice guy? Are you letting me go with the warning? Because I thought that's being a nice guy. No, I'm just writing your ticket for those things, and you could dispute it in court, and they'll change it to a non-moving violations for you. So to me, I get it, These interaction with the police are very transactional. They go out, they have a quota, and they just go out there and try to meet that quota. When a cop is writing your summons and they're telling you, hey, just go to court, and they're going to break it down to a non-moving violation, it's very transactional. And I'm like, how am I being rude? The only one thing I challenged with him, he started asking me for my social. He asked me for, a lot of personal questions. He asked me about my religion. He asked me if I have any tattoos, and I got kind of irritated because I don't have any tattoos. I'm not really big into tattoos or whatever it may be. I got irritated. I'm like, why are you asking me all these? I'm like, are you doing a survey about me? Are you making a case? You know what I mean? If you just write me a ticket, and that's when A showed up, then he told A, Mike is not being cooperative. He's being kind of rude or whatever. I'm like, how am I being impolite? You ask me a lot of these personal questions that has nothing to do with anything. And then from there, I told A, just step back. I'll talk to him, because she gets emotional. When you deal with cops, okay, law enforcement, the state trooper, whichever one, you want to stay calm, you want to stay collected, you want to follow what they tell you, and never react on emotion. I don't react on emotion. I go by logic. This is not a white or a black cop thing, but the guy was he was an older white guy, you know, fairly a lot older. And I do feel like there's like a generational gap where people that are stuck in their old ways, or they have their own understanding of life and that will not understand others that are in law enforcement, it's a lot harder for them to relate to other people that's not like them. So I think those are a lot of minor things that could be problematic when we're talking about law enforcement and people that not supposed to protect and serve, and they're not. So it gave me a bunch of tickets. Now I have to fight those. Not a big deal. I mean, it is what it is. You walk away from it. But you can tell the guy was kind of a dick. He was a total douche. He was having a bad day. I don't know, all of the above. Like I said, my interactions are either hot or cold when I deal with cops. If it's either they're really nice to me or they're just total dicks to me. And I don't like to roll that dice to guess to see which cop were nice. I just don't. And I don't take any of these personal. I know these guys have a very difficult job. They deal with very difficult people. But, you know, the problem is when you're doing a difficult job like that, even though it's hard, with every interaction, with every person you talk to or you deal with, you're supposed to reset after each. So let's say after he pulls me over, the next person he pulls over, that person shouldn't get a hint of that agitation or of the problems that he had with me. He should have a fresh state of mind. I got my bike, just basically got off the lift, and they gave it back to me because I was already in the office like, yo, you have a bike coming in, they just towed it here. I need my bike back. Here's my license and here's my card, and paid for the fees. And I just took it right back. It's like, you didn't hurt my feelings by doing that. You just made yourself an asshole. I don't take any of these things personal, but people like that guy, that trooper that does their job based on emotion or saying that they got to get home, yeah, whatever. Maybe you should pick a different career path. Some of them, not all of them. They're out and about just harming people, treating people horribly. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this conversation or you want to be part of the conversation, or you want to tell me about your police experience, if it's been good, which is good, I think a lot of you probably do have good experience. I've had a few myself also, but I've had a lot more bad experience than decent experience with law enforcement. But sound off in the comment section down below, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. Give this video a big thumbs up, and I would really appreciate it. And make sure you turn your turn signals when you turn it. Before you put this guy on, you're gonna kind of prime it. Oh man, my girl needs a bath, man. We'll take care of that shortly.